Welcome to Tattooed Freaks in Business Suits, recorded live at the Personal Touch Career Services in Denver, Colorado. I am your host, Donna Shannon. As a professional career coach, I help people navigate the hiring maze to get to the jobs they really love. So yep, it's true, the world of work in the U.S. is changing as Gen X, millennials, and those to come after us seek positions of leadership that still allow them to be themselves. So our show's purpose is to address some of these evolutions and what that means to your own career. And of course, we're going to talk about tattoos. Our sponsor is the Personal Touch Career Services, Denver's top-rated career coaches. So check out our award-winning Down and Dirty job search program, along with all of our resume packages at our ridiculously long website, which is personaltouchcareerservices.com. Once again, that's personaltouchcareerservices.com, or you can just Google it. So here today, I have my fellow career coach from Personal Touch Career Services, Donna Kline. Say hey, Donna.
Hey,
How are you today?
I'm doing all right. Today's a big, fun, busy day and happy about the beautiful weather.
Yeah. So we have an interesting topic today because number one, some people have noticed it's been a minute since we've done a podcast. And, it's sometimes life punches you in the face.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of like going to be our topic for today, too. It's like, how do you deal with those setbacks and kind of get back on the horse after life has punched you in the face, whatever the case may be? And part of those, it's many times, at least in the past, it's felt like careers can be very separated from our personal lives. I think the pandemic really opened stuff up in people's minds that we actually have these blended issues where life and work and everything is all happening at once, and we're just managing as best we can. But then post-pandemic, the expectations are you get back up on the horse, you deal with your stuff, you're highly motivated to get all your work done, but sometimes life is still going to intrude. Don't you think so?
Oh, yeah. If the pandemic taught us nothing, it was that there really isn't any separation between life and work. Everything bleeds into everything. And I think the topic that I am excited to dive into today is how do we manage that? How do we function within that? What are some ways to shape and look at this melded reality that really we have to implement? We can't
Mm-hmm.
keep it separate.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of it might be like family pressures, right? It might be dealing with children or childcare or a sick family member or something along those lines. Like the big event in my life that happened last year in December 2024, my mom had a fall at her assisted living facility, broke her arm, had to go to the hospital, and thing happens with older adults. It's what I refer to as like cascading problems. Sometimes it's also known as a defining life event. And my mom has dementia's, Alzheimer's, and it's significant, right? So the broken arm, they didn't do surgery on it because she's not a candidate for surgery. And since then, she's gone into a full nursing care facility. She's been pretty much wheelchair bound now, so she's not using a walker anymore. I've had to do a lot to manage her care, which means if she has a doctor's appointment, that's a half day lost for me, even if I'm not doing the transportation, right? Because that's what's demanded. And there's nobody else in my family who's doing anything to really help. My husband Ryan is supportive, but he's never even visited her, and it's not his job. And so, I hold all the legal authorities and all the responsibilities. And it's hard to keep functioning forward in my job, plus have all the pressures of oh, it's the new year. We have our new initiatives. We need to get sales up. We need to do all this other things. And it's like, it's not just me that I need to earn income for. Our efforts support a team of 5 staff writers and coaches, plus my assistant. So if I fall off because of life events, could have serious impact on multiple different people, and that responsibility can be very stressful at times.
Yeah, oh, I can imagine the compounded levels of stress heaped on top of crisis moments when you are a top earner, when you are a decision maker, when you are a leader, because that's when we have this meld with the personal and professional, where everything is blurred and impactful on each level. And I think for me, having you as an ally and a champion, because we are in very similar experiences in our personal lives, as well as in our professional lives. I'm part of the team. And so I think having that champion, that person, or maybe people who can hear and understand and support and get those stressors and get the support that you're looking for, or just being a shoulder or an ear to just be there is so important. And that's kind of like step one, right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
acknowledgement and support is kind of where we start.
Yeah. Here's an interesting fact for you. I was at a state of talent for the Arvada Chamber this morning. It was a very good speaker. And one of the things he pointed out is 80% of employees today, right now, would change jobs for more flexibility,
Mm,
meaning flexibility to deal with work-life balance like this, flexibility in hours, the hybrid remote work options versus being forced to go back to work in the office. And that's significant.
that says a lot. I mean,
I know, 80%. Holy cats.
that's like basically that's saying everyone. That basically is saying everyone needs to have flexibility to deal with both sides of their life.
Yeah. And
And
flexibility is more important than money.
yeah, absolutely. And we see that again and again in the candidates that come to us that look for help when we watched active job search and interviewing and qualification of do I want this opportunity or not? So many people are placing on their list of goals and needs like the take it or leave it point where they have to have the flexibility. They will sacrifice salary for
Mm-hmm.
flexibility because it's too important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like 83% of Gen Zs coming out of college and into the workforce are looking for and prioritizing employers that have supportive mental health programs.
Mm. Yeah, and I think that can look like a lot of different ways, right? Those
Mm-hmm.
mental support programs can be anything from mentorship groups, it can be anything from acknowledgement of quality time. What is the time off for not medical reasons, just like mental health reasons, understanding family needs. So having grace within the systems in that, as well as just having paid support channels where maybe they have an in-house therapist. Maybe the insurance program that you're part of allows for 20 mental health visits a year.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see. We'll see how this shakes out. Because I think with shifting work cultures and kind of, I don't want to get political, but, leadership from top down, let's just
Mhm.
say somebody announced to Congress that woke culture in America is dead. So we don't know if we're going to have those kind of support systems very much anymore. And sometimes my own grizzly old Gen X attitude comes out. So, like, okay, I'm not here to be your therapist as your boss. I'm here to make sure that we get our work done. I'm here to support you, yeah, for sure. But I'm not here to solve all your problems, new college graduate.
Well, and this is kind of like I expect to hire a grown up. I don't care what age you are, but I expect to hire a grown up. And within that responsibility of being a grown up, you as the boss, they as the boss, understands that I will trust this person to get the job done. Well, that's if you don't have a micromanager, right? Where it's where you have those clear expectations, right? So if you get the job done, I am happy to give you the space and grace
Mm-hmm.
that you need. Communication is key. We need to have an open channel of communication. And as long as I can see that you are doing what I need within your job and you're getting it done, and even if that looks odd in terms of timeline, in terms of hours worked, if you're the adult, the professional who is hired to do the job is doing the job, that's where the boss oversight, that's where the openness and the communication can come in and support you. It's like, I know it's not going to look traditional. I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Let's see how it goes. I
Mm-hmm.
trust you.
Yeah. Yeah. And communication really is key in that.
Yeah,
Yep.
because you can't just like be like, where'd they go? Why are they doing weird things? Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
getting the result, but I feel not confident in the process. I don't trust that they'll show up with the result.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of like, I don't know if you've seen the meme where the worker is going, I'm taking a technology break today. So I just for my own mental health, I am going to not be on my computer. I'm not going to be on my smartphone. I'm taking, a day for me as a technology break. And the boss goes, but you're a software engineer.
I will only be doing written analysis today.
Sorry, I don't mean to be mean, but I am mean. So I'll just leave that there.
That's is
But
that
I
like from Dilbert or something?
no, that's from me. I do, no, it is a meme I've seen though, but I think with like some attitudes we have to look out for. I'll give you a little story to like clearly illustrate differences between like older generations on this and what I call kind of like having grace for ourselves. We have to have grace when we're going through a hard position. And so even more so have mercy.
Hmm.
So my mom's first cascading problem event, defining life event, was she fell and broke her pelvis in 2019. So this was the thing that, it cost her home. She had to go into assisted living after that and everything. And there was a period where, due to Medicaid laws, the rules, she had been in skilled nursing for her recovery. But then after 20 days, Medicaid kicks you out of the facility. If you have any, you have to leave. So then I had her in her own condo and I was doing the primary caregiving like directly all day long. This was so nuts. My dad and his wife, my stepmom, were coming in and helping me by doing shifts. So we would alternate them. I mean, how crazy is that? Because we didn't have home health aides, couldn't afford it or whatever. Medicare wouldn't cover it. And then I was like just trying to hang in there. It was so nuts. She would lay in bed and scream in pain at night. And in her one bedroom condo, she had not even a full couch for me to sleep on. It was a love seat.
Oof.
And it totally destroyed my mental health, where, the depression was so bad. It's like, I don't even deserve a bed anyways. It was bad. I mean, bad. And then we had, the physical therapist came by to do the evaluation in the house and was seeing how she was moving and she couldn't barely use her walker and the screaming and pain and stuff like this, even while she was on painkillers. And the therapist was like, there's no way this is sustainable. You can't do this. This is not possible. And Medicare won't approve 24/7 home health aides. At best, you're going to get somebody for 2, 3 hours a day. And I lost it. I just was in a hysterical fit. after she left. I mean, it was so bad. I stressed out so much. I had a nosebleed because my blood pressure went soaring so high. And then my stepmom was all like, Donna, you just got to get yourself pulled together. You just have to. And I'm like trying to tell her, who's also had mental health issues in her past, trying to tell my stepmom the reality of what I'm going through, right? Which is very difficult because I do have like a diagnosis, you know. I'm certifiably crazy. It's not just empirical evidence. And also, I'm trying to work during this time. You know, I have my laptop there. I'm writing resumes in between caring for my mom. And my stepmom's like, people are relying on you. You just need to take all those feelings and shove them way down because people need you and there's no one else here.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. And
I think
so,
this, I think
and
this
then, okay,
falls.
it gets better. It gets better. So then that night they leave, they bring dinner, they leave. And as they're leaving, Sue, my stepmom, says, I'm going to get you a book that was so helpful for me and it's going to change your life. I'm like, oh, okay, awesome. Maybe this is like chicken soup for the soul or some shit. I don't know. And I get home and I look at my desk at home, and you want to know the book she bought me?
I'm afraid.
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Dale Carnegie in the conversation?
I was all like, I hated that book so much. I threw it across the room. I was like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. I am like literally going suicidal here. And you're giving me how to win friends and influence people?
That is so off topic. I can't even. That's like saying I stubbed my toe and saying, "Here, drive a car." Like what?
Just more
Like
like you broke your leg. Here's your CDL. Go drive a truck.
yeah. Okay, okay, it's a stick shift. Enjoy. Whoa. Okay, so I think this illustrates very clearly the need to get support and permission and advice from qualified, trusted support systems, and how everyone with a voice and an opinion does not mean you well. Uh, Just because they can say it doesn't mean it's accurate.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And then in the flip side too, I've heard people get cracked down on from their boss as well.
that's
And
the
like,
fear.
yeah, yeah, like forever and a day ago in my first radio job, and I was helping out with the recruitment, and our controller told me that she did not like to hire single women because they would miss too much work because they had to deal with their kids when they got sick. I'm like, okay, well, that is freaking illegal.
Oh, and what a gender blind assumption of role, societal structure that's forced on women.
Mhm.
That isn't necessarily true, but is the forced perception that women are the caregivers. Women are the ones that everything falls onto. Not saying we aren't, but that assumption not only is illegal,
Hmm. We
is
have
out.
worked with so many single dads who are ready to go back, or single dads and stay-at-home dads who are ready to come back into the workforce.
Yeah, and also grandparents who work as extensions of the primary caregiver.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's an irrelevant topic. It's an illegal topic, and it's irrelevant in that kind of context because the relevancy has to be that conversation of do you do the job?
Hmm.
How am I getting help to meld my needs across? And if you don't have a boss that is helping or supporting or the structure you work in, that's when the big conflict comes. So when you get punched in the face, you feel helpless because there's no support around how do I manage both? How
Hmm.
do I integrate both? How do I ask for help without being judged or being giving advice that is so off target? it puts you further down the drain.
Yeah. Yeah. And it can be challenging to suddenly realize that the work system that you thought was supportive was only supportive as long as you were producing.
Mm.
And no, don't get me wrong, jobs you do need to produce. That's why it's a job, not a playtime.
Yeah, the whole idea of I don't care what you did, what are you doing? Right?
Mhm.
That's that fear context around a job where it's like I was top producers 5 years in a row. And now because my life has melded into needs that I need supported across my career, things are shifting. And now all of a sudden, a valuable employee becomes less valuable because of metrics.
Mhm.
And how to, again, if you have open channels of communication, you can, I think, more deftly navigate that situation by asking for support, by asking for that space and grace, by understanding I, the adult in this process, will still achieve a result. But you need to understand and acknowledge that I've had a life shift
Mhm.
and I'm still committed, but I've had a life shift and this it looks different.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I think it's been real interesting to how we see the workplace evolve over this next year. Mhm.
Yeah, I had a client on a sales call the other day who was distraught, very, very emotional because they were trying to understand how to do this meld, right?
Mhm.
That they've lost this career because they were undervalued, because they weren't supported, they were gaslighted. And so then they question themselves. And then that flows into how do I, as a primary breadwinner in this situation of my life, how am I getting support and facilitating this structure, and am I worthless? And I don't even know how to navigate this. Because all they were doing was circling the drain of despair and depression and,
Mhm.
lack of faith because nobody outside of their brain was giving them support. Nobody was giving them ideas of how to get through crisis.
Yeah.
All they knew was crisis and I am worthless
Yeah.
and I'm desperate.
Yeah. And those are the hardest times to ask for help.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
because when you're already down, you're just like, I'm not even looking. I don't even care. Doesn't
Yeah.
even,
I'm not even worthy of help.
yeah,
That,
for sure.
that's 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 one of my key markers in my brain. If I'm starting to think that thought, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this might be chemical imbalance. It might be depression.
Might be different. Yeah. As an introvert, I need constant recharging. So I recognize in me on a normal daily level that I need to not be in contact. I just need to sit and veg. I recharge, just doing
Mhm.
whatever I do. And then when I'm in crisis mode, I have a hard time just figuring out the function of A to B.
Mm.
And sometimes it takes a recharge or it takes somebody close to me who I trust to just acknowledge and actuate something. Give me a project that I know I can accomplish. Right? Because if I'm stuck in this problem that everything is a step forward, 20 steps back, or everything I try blows up, then it's like the validity of accomplishing a simple project, a simple task can, for me, pick me back up and recharge me to be like, okay, try again. And it's okay if it fails. I'm trying
Mhm.
again.
Yeah. Yeah. I think part of it too that's helpful is when faced with these situations like that is recognizing what is your responsibility or your wheelhouse and what is not.
Mm,
Like not taking on other people's garbage that's not yours.
mm. It's
But
okay to say no.
it is okay to say no. And sometimes we have to deal with unreasonable people, whether you deal with this one, whether it's in your personal life or your boss. Is your boss unreasonable?
Not mine. I have the best boss.
Mhm.
Right, yeah.
Listeners, it's me.
DM me later for the real dish.
Yeah.
Um, the, the permission to say no, the permission to say I am not taking that on, the permission to say that's okay. They're going to have to suffer for that's their problem, and I cannot jump in and problem solve it.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm going to hire someone who can. I'm going to ask somebody else if they can jump in. I have a little phone tree that I enact when I have a problem, and I'm like, I don't want to, I can't, and I won't. Right. So then I pick a person on that tree, and I'm like, here, I need you, please, to do the thing. Boom. And then they do the thing. And usually the thing is so simple. It's not like I need you to drive my life for a month. It's not what I'm asking, right? I need you
Mm-hmm.
to do this simple thing that for me is overwhelming, that for me will break my back, for me that I have no confidence of success in achieving or passion to do because I won't. I said no.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't do it, that's okay. Everything does not have to, you don't have to be Superwoman, Superman, and do all of it. Failure is a good metric.
Mm-hmm.
Failure is fine.
Yeah. And you'd be amazed at just getting help with like one thing that you don't know how to do can make a big difference. It's like we talk to people all the time about their resumes. And they're like, I've been looking for 6 months. I haven't gotten any interviews. I'm not sure if I'm doing it right. We take a look at that resume in 3 minutes. We say, this is why this is not working. Calling up an expert in any area, it's like, oh, you don't know how to navigate Medicaid? Check out these resources. You don't know how to navigate dealing with moving parents into assisted living. Believe it or not, there are services out there that will help you with placement and they cost nothing
Yep.
to the family.
Shout out to Alzheimer's. Is it .org? Their
The
free support
Alzheimer's
system.
Association. Yeah.
Yes, amazing. Absolutely, absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Because it's like sometimes when we're faced with that issue, we could be looking for solutions or we could be looking for staying stuck.
And that's right. That's the hurdle when we have these sales calls and we talk to people and we, as experts, identify problem. Right. So between the problem and an actuated result is the hurdle, and that hurdle is usually money.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we have the people who tell us the problem and we can give them a solution, and they either have to take that hurdle, which is actuation or money or believing we're the trusted resource they should believe in. Or, like you said, they just needed to vent. And that's where they're at right now because they're not willing to enact a different solution.
Mm-hmm.
They get it, they hear it. But I'm not ready to do anything different. Okay.
Yeah. Part of the issue with accepting help is understanding that things can change and that you're willing to do something different.
Donna, I think that's so profound. I think acknowledging that things can change
Mm-hmm.
because we can get embedded in the problem. We can get and stay embedded in the suck where we're just still reacting to the punch.
Yeah.
And all
Yeah.
we're doing is talking about the punch.
Yeah. And this is like actually one of my dad's greatest pieces of advice he ever gave me. And I think it applies to work, it applies to personal situations, it fits for everything. And this was when my parents were going through a divorce. And when faced with an intolerable situation, we always have three choices.
Mm.
So, number one, we can do nothing, right? We just suck it up, we sit in it, and just you can either accept it or not, but you're not doing anything to change it. You're just sucking it up, right? So you stay. Number two, you can try to transform it from the inside. That means, all right, I'm going to do what I can to change my behavior, my thoughts, my feelings about something to see if this will improve. And that includes like communicating with any other people in the situation to see if they'll adjust or whatever, right? And then the last one is leave. So sometimes you can't do anything to change it and you got to go. And when I think like if you're in a job that treated you amazing when you were the golden child and you did everything you were supposed to, but then all of a sudden you're getting punched in the face by life and your boss is still being just as demanding, that may be one of those things where you need to take a look. It's like, can I suck this up? Do I need to transform this? Do I actually need to leave?
That is that's a big, right, big question. And I think a way to proactively deal with this, to kind of get your brain situated in a case of what would happen, just to kind of see what kind of situation you're sitting in, is if you are the golden employee and you're doing all the things and you get the praise and you like how you're being treated, actively look at how the underperformers or the not golden employees are being treated, because that is a clear pathway into how you will be treated if you stop performing.
Yeah. Good point. Excellent point.
I had a director who worked with me many times, and the first time I worked with them, they treated the other actor poorly, and I was treated very well. And then the next time I worked with them, I was all of a sudden identified as the problem, and then I saw how they treated the the golden actor. And then in the third project, I'm like, and my partner was like, "Why are you going back? You've clearly identified how poorly they treat people who are not up to whatever standard they're comparing to, and how outrageously they treat the golden child." And that shaped my perspective of look to how they treat the less than. Don't look to see how they treat the best than.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Now, that being said, there are times when what somebody can endure is a very different standard than others.
Yes.
So, one of the more interesting characters I ever worked with in my life was the biggest, craziest control freak you'd ever want to meet. Like, legit. So, she was a rageaholic. She threw things at people. She got arrested at her own place of business one time for assaulting somebody. You know, pretty famous in her own industry
Yep.
for all these trends. And people were like, at the time I left, I had the most seniority on the team, except for like some Russians who didn't care. Yeah, they don't care. Russian guys, pfft, he's like, this is Tuesday. What you care?
Yeah, they have a different standard of pain.
Yeah. She's a small woman. She don't throw hard. Her punch is soft. Who cares?
But bullets not penetrate. I have armor.
And some people are like, how could you have been here so long? It was only 2 years and 2 months, by the way.
I
And
like how you really know exactly how long you were there. It wasn't 2-ish years. 2 years, 2 months.
but you got to realize when I worked in broadcasting and before that, my specialty was difficult artists. The screamers, the control freaks, the egos and all the rest of that. And how did I endure that? How did I, number one, make that a specialty that I was kind of proud of? Is that when the control freaks screaming or using foul language or whatever, I would never paid attention to how things were said. I was paying attention to what they said. And then it's like I would just kind of decode all of those things and then go and do the work. And sometimes I would have to like translate for other people on the team. It's like the control freaks giving this really offensive way of saying something. Then we all go upstairs to try to get our work done, and everybody's like, what a bitch, and I'm all like, well, okay, that's what she said, but here's what she actually meant, and this is what she wants you to do. Oh, I'm like, well, we can talk about the if you want, or you can focus on getting the job done and not be upset about the bears.
And also you can recognize that this is an unhealthy environment and you don't want to be in it.
Yeah, the reason why I left was not because how she was treating me, because eventually I earned her trust. So, and not to mention I didn't care about the screaming stuff. I couldn't stand the way she was treating everybody else anymore. That's why I left. But had things been different, had I been trying to deal with sick children or my mom's health, or, I had a husband that passed away once, if I had been trying to deal with any of those kind of things in this environment, no way I could have done it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, those big life events, I think they're litmus tests to
Yeah.
our happiness factor, to our employment factor, to our life factor. And these are those cardinal moments that require you to shift and change and open and grow and ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's immune. Nobody's immune. It's just a matter of where you are when whatever happens versus whatever happens to where you are. Um, it's something to think about because you can't ignore it. You won't escape it. You will
Yeah.
not come out of life or career unscathed. So,
And it's never going to be back to normal.
no.
That's the other thing that we have to recognize too. It's not once this crisis is over, I can go back to being what I was, either in the job or personally, because we have been transformed by
Yes.
having endured this. And now we are different people. And that's part of the acceptance thing about ourselves and going, hey, maybe now would be a time to change careers because this has made it painfully obvious about what I really do want in my life and what I do not.
Oh my gosh. And though these moments are also speaking to you're not going to be the same. You can't go back. Your
Yeah.
path is different. You are different. These are those moments when we also can give ourselves just clean permission to rid ourselves of people who didn't show up, who
Yeah.
didn't support, who were not helpful people in a way that you needed them, because now you're shifted and changed. And then you look to this base of people in your life, and a lot of them aren't going to fit, just like the career may not fit anymore. And I look at those as open doors and opportunities. You can kind of like Marie Kondo it. I thank you for what you brought to my life, and now I don't need you anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So after all these heavy conversations, it's time to talk about our tattoos.
Oh, yes.
So we don't have any new tattoos to discuss this time.
No. I'm sad. I still need my 50th. I'm 52.
I got some artists I can recommend.
Yeah, no, I need the art. What am I passionate about? What do I need to mark that change? Right?
Yeah.
What do I
Well,
want to
this is why, after moments like this, there's a lot of people who do give themselves a tattoo to celebrate it or remember it or
Yeah.
mark it. It's like the commas or the semicolons.
Semicolons? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And this speaks to it addresses the negative opinions about tattoos of what if you don't like it anymore? What if you outgrow it? What if you don't want that anymore on your body? And so many people who get tattoos get them to mark moments and feelings and times in their life. And it's a book, and it's chapters, and it's phases. And a lot of people are empowered by that. And so I particularly like marking those accomplishments and moments with ink.
Mm,
It means
yep.
something to me. I like the story. And even the regretful tattoos, you can either cover it up or speak to the story and how you learned and grew. You know, it's like, oh, you want to talk about my failed marriage? It's like, what here, you know, but it's like tattoo. We did this and then that. And that's all I want to say about that.
Yeah, so I think everybody's familiar with the semicolon tattoo means, but just in case you
Oh,
don't know it, to the Google.
yes, the semicolon is the acknowledgement of keeping living.
Yeah.
Is that the best way to say it?
So it's a symbol of strength and resilience. So the semicolon is a punctuation mark that suggests a pause, not an end, which is why it is used to signify that the person's story is not finished
Mm,
and they have chosen to continue their journey.
yeah. Like uh the subtext is I had suicidal thoughts and I
Yeah.
chose to continue.
But it's been taken on to be more. I think it can mean more too. So it was literally Amy Bluell in 2013 started this project semicolon
Mm-hmm.
to raise awareness about mental health and suicide prevention after her father's suicide.
Mm,
So the tattoo serves as a visual reminder of the struggle and symbol of support for those who have faced depression, anxiety, self-harm, and other mental health issues. So that's the real full meaning behind it. So just realize if you're trying to do like the semicolon tattoo, a lot of times people will go, oh, you have mental health issues. So if you want to be more subtle, maybe get something that's a little bit less on the nose.
mm.
Because
Or where's
also
the
the
place that
semicolon is also usually put on the wrist. So it's more visual.
yeah, true.
Mhm.
True. But again, you know, your body art, your body, your design, your celebration, your meaning. I've
Mhm.
seen plenty of tattoos where I'm like, meh. And then they don't want to tell me, or they do tell me, and I'm like, that's wonderful. I love that for you. I
Mhm.
don't have to do it. I love it for you.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we've had a heavy issue, a heavy episode today. And good news for me, things are kind of settling down with my mom. I know you with Dia are still heading headfirst into
Major.
all these issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
This is
I'll
the this is the other thing, and I'll kind of leave with this, is the best part about going through one of these life or difficult work events is once things are over, we can be guides and helpful to other people who are facing this issue themselves. And it adds the additional value to our own experiences because shared pain is reduced pain.
mm, yeah. And it's just, you know what? It's shorthand because sometimes it's like I don't have the energy to explain it to somebody who doesn't get it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes it's not necessary.
Yeah.
You got to pick your audience, right? It was not the right audience for me to share my mental health struggles with my stepmom.
That's right. Shift your message. You know, it's like pivot. Do you know how to pivot? You need to pivot.
Yeah.
Find the right audience.
And if somebody's having a mental health crisis, please do not give them how to win friends and influence people.
Especially the unrevised edition from the 30s,
It probably was the original edition. I don't know.
where it's only applies to men because only men
I
need.
don't know. I never read that book. I was just like,
I will say in the defense, there's some good things in the book. The old edition is patriarchy male centric because women belong in the kitchen. They have revised it to add women into the conversations and stories and pronouns, but it has some good points, but not for what you needed it for.
no, no, no. Anyways, that has been our episode. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining with us. we're looking forward to the rest of 2025. And I don't know. That's it. That's
Awesome.
it. Until next time. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Tattooed Freaks in Business Suits, produced by the Personal Touch Career Services. Our host is Donna Shannon. All music has been ethically sourced and licensed from sounddogs.com and epidemicsound.com. Support the arts. We certainly do. Join us next time as we continue to explore the evolving world of work and leadership in the United States. If you are interested in being a guest, or if you would like to receive a complimentary career evaluation, please visit the contact page at personaltouchcareerservices.com. Once again, that's personaltouchcareerservices.com. Or you can just Google it.